Fashion Insider friends, what is up? This is the Fashion Crimes podcast where I cover all things fashion, style, shopping, style inspiration, and interview incredible small business owners who are changing the fashion industry for the better. Yes, I'm the best friend you never knew you needed and the poster child for fashion over 40, and I mean way after 40. Say it with me, fashion and style are your friends, not your enemies. I'm Holly Katz, your favorite personal stylist, and let's keep it real, the only Holly you need to know. Turn it up, because I got a lot to say, and I am super stoked you're here. Happy Friday, fashion besties. As the week is coming to an end, I am here as promised with a New York Fashion Week trend report on what's hot, what you guys should be looking for, and what you'll be seeing in the stores, because this is what you do when you go shopping and you look for new clothes as you are elevating your style. Yes, it is. As I have just gotten back from Fashion Week, it's important for you to know that it was in the 50s all week until the day that I left, and then it was 29 degrees with 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm glad that I picked up your telepathic message on what to wear, like creating last week's episode, which was called Cold Weather Dressing Made Simple, which I do hope that you indeed listened to it, because that episode was last week, because guess what? It's still cold. And it is winter because it is February, which is completely rude. However, I have two good news this week. Not sure how to say that. My son is getting married this weekend. I mean, what? I'm officially old now, as I'm saying my daughter-in-law this, my daughter-in-law that. Oy. Okay, I will be looking fabulous this weekend. Don't worry, as that was my main objective. And I will be posting pictures so you can see my dresses and my outfits and such. Because, of course, that is of utmost importance for the entire wedding weekend. Duh. And just FYI, in case anyone is wondering, I'm wearing custom Jonathan Cohen, our friends at Jonathan Cohen, for the rehearsal dinner, and Alexander McQueen for the wedding. Alexander McQueen, that was from the runway 2 seasons ago. I'm also wearing these strappy sandals by Aquazzara, and I was walking around the store saying to anyone who was looking at me, y'all pray for me. Please pray for me in these shoes, because they are really, really high. And I need y'all to pray for me too, because I will not, under any circumstances, change my shoes. If I'm committed to impractical heels, I'm in all the way. Okay. That's just me. I'm in it to win it. In other good news is I was just featured in the Atlanta Jewish Times as one of Atlanta's top fashion professionals, along with some other local professional stylist Jews. So make sure you hit up the show notes so you can read all about it. Link to the article will be in the show notes. Please check it out. I was very honored to be chosen. I think it was like 8 of us. And it said what the trends were, and I quoted what I thought the trends were, and I was quoted, and along with other ladies. Some I knew, some I didn't know. So that was exciting. But Fashion Week started out late with a 9 o'clock show that did not start until almost 10 with my friend Bach Mai at the forefront. This is the only second time he's shown, and he makes the most incredible clothes that I am a fan for life. Now, I hope that you check out my Instagram, because I have the show posted online, the final looks, in addition to the Bach Mai dress I was wearing, which was royal blue silk. It was an evening gown that was cut on the bias, and it was draped in the back, and I didn't know how it was going to look on me, but I dressed it down with some gold Jimmy Choo boots and a gold Tom Ford painted denim jacket. And it was actually very comfortable. It was kind of like wearing a nightgown. Anyway, I'm wearing that dress again to another wedding that I'm going to in May with different shoes and different accessories, because that's going to make it more evening. The clothes were a mix of large prints, plaids, and evening gowns that were a lot of metallics, a lot of ruffles, car wash fringe, and giant flounces. Opera gloves were big this season, as they have been for a while now. And he showed most of his looks with the opera gloves. I was totally here for it. Saturday was my big day, as I started out with the glam squad. Okay. Shout out to Beauty Vibe Vespa. Love her. Elena. I started out with the presentation with our friends at Jonathan Cohen, who had such an incredible collection of dresses and skirts and leather boots to die for, to die. They had this bow that they used on a jacket, and they used it on boots and other items and different fabrics. Pics, of course, on my Instagram, duh. Pin tuck, ladylike dresses of all colors, bright colors, pencil skirts, and his signature florals, they made the debut. He does all his own artwork, which means he prints his own fabric with the artwork he makes. Also, his collection is always very diverse, including the ages of the models, which I was very impressed by. He had all age groups represented, so kudos to them. And I love everything that they showed. I'm sure you're not surprised. They had watercolor suits and very colorful low heels. It's got a very timeless, effortless feel to it. Loved it. From there, we went to Prowenza Schooler, which is one of my favorite brands, duh. The show was very tailored with workwear, suiting, and lots of coats. Dresses were shapeless leather in metallics and very drapey chiffons. Color played a big part here in the deconstructed dressing with the quote, I'm using air quotes, extra sleeves in tweed and boucle around the shoulders and around the waist. They had lots of sheer moments with collared button-ups and a sheer top over it. So it was a button-up shirt, like an Oxford shirt. Then it had a sheer top over it. Very different. They did the same thing with some of the leg wear, sheer boots, over it with the pants. Sheer was everywhere with, tits out, okay? It's been the same thing for most of the shows, completely see-through tops and tits out. Now, I know it's a runway show, and I know it's supposed to be avant-garde. However, it was just a lot of boob action. A lot of very, very low heels, lace, and netting. I even saw some stirrup pants mixed up in there somewhere. Next, we had the pleasure of going to Sally LaPointe. And let me just say, okay, me and Sally LaPointe need to be best friends. Her show is always so hip, and the music is fabulous, incredible. This year, she had a school theme, and all of the models got off the school bus, legit school bus, with her name that was on the side of the school bus. Like, are you kidding me with that? Between all of the feathers, the music, coats, the short shorts, and the tights, that was really big for her this season. Fringe, all of the neon. It was the best show that I've seen this season. Also, thigh-high boots were at every show. Every show. Lots of designers showed them on the runway this season, from patent leather to white and lace-ups and all the way up to the knee, over the knee, up to the thigh. But this show is usually very streetwear centric, and it never disappoints. She is so fucking fly. I love her so much. I will interview her one day. Oh, yes. Yes, I will. And now I've put it in the universe. The next day was the Super Bowl. And I didn't go to anything on the Super Bowl because it was Super Bowl Sunday. So I didn't do anything then. But the next day was the Del Scott collection. That was my second time witnessing her talent in person, as I went last season for the first time. She is a designer out of Philadelphia who was recommended to me. She creates truly feminine, flowy, and bold women's wear that can be worn by anyone of any age. She conjoins classic silhouettes with metallic and tulle, creating pant sets, dresses, and rompers. It was both very romantic and could be interpreted as bridal, yes, with some party looks in between. She always walks the runway at the end and thanks everyone, which is actually really nice. I really love supporting women-owned fashion brands like Del Scott that are producing small batches and changing the fashion industry for the better. Yes. You can see the corresponding picture straight from the runway on your Pinterest board this week. That way, you can get a better idea of what I am describing here. That night, we went to a designer talk with Jason Wu, women's wear designer. We watched the video of his show because I wasn't invited, let's be honest. That's okay. And then he talked about his collection and the inspiration behind it. He is timeless, classic, total, straight up, beautiful women's wear designs. He's dressed a ton of celebrities like Michelle Obama and many others. His show this year was a mix of evening wear with sequins, sheer, of course, the opera gloves that we've been seeing this year, lots of asymmetrical wrapped off the shoulder tops and dresses. A very common theme I've seen this season is oversized coats, both men and women, with both evening and daytime looks. Sequins everywhere, fucking everywhere, everywhere sequins from top to bottom, appliques and full looks of sequins with and without the oversized sleeping bag coats. Low heels again and flat work style and Chelsea boots walk down the runway in black and brown, of course, to showcase the looks even more with a shoe that does not distract from the look. The final show I went to was my friend Evan Hirsch. Now, if you've been hanging with me for a couple years, I want you to go all the way, or even if you haven't, I want you to go all the way back to episode 113. That's when I met Evan for the first time, and I noticed him right away. He was making and embellishing his own clothing from such a young age, and he graduated from Drexel University. Snaps to Evan. We got to talking in line, waiting for another fashion show to start, and I told him I wanted to interview him. 1 year later, here he is, showcasing his own line inspired by the video game The Last Epic. Now, I don't know anything about video games. I don't know not one thing. However, this woman who was like really funky and cool, super young lady, she was on the front row with us, and she was like, this is totally my video game. So all of his looks were inspired by this video game, The Last Epic. Evan is known on TikTok, 50 million bazillion gajillion views on social media and TikTok. He was just showcased on the Tamron Hall show for her designer series. Snaps to Tamron Hall, snaps for showcasing young talent. We love her for that. But he is known for these what's called transforming gowns. The model walks down the aisle and unfastens a few snaps, and boom, 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 the dress changes into a different style. What? So fabulous, creative, different, so different than anything I've ever seen in a fashion show. He had strapless gowns, short gowns, long gowns, you name it. Anything that Evan makes is a dress that is usually two styles in one. Let's give snaps to Evan Hirsch. Snaps. Love him. Cute little Jewish boy from Long Island, killing it at New York Fashion Week. How proud are we of Evan? We're going to interview him again now that he's big deal. He was a big deal then, but he's an even bigger deal now. I just love that because he's so sweet and super humble. He was so happy we were there. I love to see other people bloom and blossom. Okay, squirrely girls, the trends for this season have been some that we've seen before, yes, and some new trends that have been introduced. One that's a little broad, but has been popular and brought to my attention is called, and I'm using air quotes, girlcore. Some call it little girl dressing, which I think is weird, but I like calling it girlcore. Now, what this means is anything super feminine, like clothing that can look like doll clothing. Pink, more pink, and pink. Ruffles. The more ruffles, the better. Oversized, chunky Mary Janes. Chiffon, princess dressing, and sheer dressing, just like we've seen the past few seasons, all combined to create girlcore. Now, we've had Barbie core, mermaid core, ballet core, and others, but now we're rocking it hard with the nod to the Harajuku dressing or little girl dressing like we see with Japanese street style. As important as color has been for the past few seasons, now in addition to color is white, okay? White for both men and women and monochrome looks from coats to dresses and slacks. And of course, shoes and boots. The whites did range in shades and in fabrics from stark white to light ivory and, every other shade in between. Everything from sheer to silk to tweeds we saw in the snowy shades. I also noticed that white was also paired with black in some instances with gloves and boots accompanying some of the looks. But for the colors that were of note this season as trends, brown You heard that right. Brown was labeled as lattes and shades of coffee as a new it color, according to the FGI communique, compiled by Nicole Fiskelis and Sharon Gabbard. Thank you to them for their lovely detailed reports. Every shade of brown you can think of in knits, leather, of course, silks, and even denim was brown. Browns are always a neutral that can be mixed with most colors, not all, most. And it's made a huge comeback this year and is going to continue on through the fall, I would imagine. Another color that was hot on the runway was red, crimson and lipstick red to head wraps to red leather. I saw some red leather pants. What? Unreal. This color was the color that adorned most of the collections this season. Red obviously is known as a power color that can mean love or passion and seduction. Designers like Jason Wu and Prabal Gurung used drape fabrics that were super sophisticated, either with pants underneath or use the color as an evening gown. Either way, the color never, in my opinion, can go out of style. Huge caftan-like dresses with pants underneath. That's what I saw in red. Super, super chic. That's what I wanted to get off the runway. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that was total style inspo for me. Also, plaids this season were a hit. Bach Mai used the same plaid for a lot of different styles. It sort of looked like an African plaid, but it looked like it had a cultural dressing element to it. This was a hit, also tied in with preppy, the preppy trend or the schoolgirl type of plaid. Mismatched plaids, tartan plaid, madras plaid, tweed plaids. That was all the rage this season, making any type of plaid go together. This, of course, is a trend from the fashion cycle from the early 1990s when the grunge phase was first introduced. Plaid with stripes, plaid with solids, plaid with knits. It's definitely a pattern mixing situation. So if you dare to try this trend, try it at all. I'm here for it. I support you. Pattern mixing is doable, but you have to keep it in the same color family is all that I ask. So don't be crazy like you're blind, like you mismatch or you got dressed in the dark. If you have a blue and red plaid, make sure you pair it with something else blue and red. And take a risk. You never know. It might work. Big, gigantic, poofy sleeves or statement sleeves. That was a hit with dresses, tops, jackets, and sweaters. This is something that's been in and out really since the 1800s with the original leg of mutton sleeve. All that really means is poofy. It can be the shoulder or the bicep or both with a fitted forearm and wrist. So that is like a poofy structured sleeve. Bows on everything. Bows and ribbons on everything, from clothing, hair accessories, to shoes and bags. Bows of all sizes and fabric types. That is huge right now. Definitely girl core adjacent, of course, and can proudly stand on its own as well. I, myself, love this trend. I always have. I rocked a bow in my hair for our holiday party. If you keep up with me on Instagram, which I hope you do, literally just like I wore in high school, and I like a gross grain ribbon. And I actually copied that trend from Sarah Jessica Parker as she had a gigantic bow in her hair, and I totally copied her on that. I was not ashamed of it. I called her out and I called me out, then I called her out and I copied her. However, her bow went from her head all the way to the hem of her dress. Mine was not that long, but I did give a nod to that style. I have no shame. I don't care. So bows on everything. That's a trend that will be in for a while. So embrace it when you can and make sure that you do it to the fullest. You can do a grosgrain grain ribbon, like a loose ribbon, or you can do like a hair bow from the 90s, like with the clip. I've seen that too. That's both really in right now. Other trends of note that we have seen before are back. Silver metallics, florals of all kind, embroidery florals and prints and floral appliques and every other floral you can put on fabric that you can imagine and wrap your brain around. Sheer, which has been in for a while, sheer everything, and leather, of course, leather, everything from hats and jackets to dresses and boots. Denim is huge still, as it has been from last year, especially embellished, very expensive denim with stones, lace, treatments, fringe, which is my absolute favorite out of all of these trends. Fringe, and more fringe. Fringe will never die, according to me, especially at Sally LaPointe, where she was not shy with the fringe. She is so extra with her designs, and I'm here for it, and I love it. Please keep in mind that trends are just exactly that, just trends. Sometimes they're in, they're out. They're in again, they're out. They're in 20 years later. You wore it before, now it's back. It just depends on what your taste level and your comfort level is. Because I love fringe, just using that as an example, I love it so much. I always have. I just bought a skirt from Proenza that was sequin and fringe and on sale because I want to just be clear. God wanted me to have that skirt. Okay. And I just like to point that out. I wore it this past weekend to the Atlanta Ballet. Snaps to the Atlanta Ballet. Okay. It was my first performance ever seeing them. And they did a rendition of Coco Chanel's Life. It was fabulous. I wore that fringe skirt. And again, I don't have to wear fringe from top to bottom, but I do love a fringe moment as I paired it with a black top and a boucle cropped jacket on top. If you like that trend, like a statement sleeve, or if you like leather, it's always good to push yourself a little out of your comfort zone without feeling like you're inauthentic to who you really are and your style. So, like for the statement sleeve, poofy sleeve trend, I would get a statement sleeve that was a jacket and maybe wear something a little bit more subdued underneath so you're not wearing poofy sleeve on top of poofy sleeve. For the leather trend, I would just pick one piece, like a pant or a skirt, to make the piece, that piece can be the star. If you have leather pants with a fringe on the side, which I might or might not own myself, well, that's a double whammy, and I would definitely wear something more simple on the top so that the pants can really shine. I will not apologize for my leather fringe pants. Now, that is two trends in one, but you know what? That just came my way, and I love those fringe pants. They're never going to die. I love them so much, but it is a double trend. So I do like to keep it simple on top, party on the bottom. In other trend news, workwear, like tailored clothing, is in, always has been. Volume, big volume is being celebrated and talked about this fashion week. Y'all remember my big pants, my big silver pants that I wore from Bach Mai last season? That's what I'm referring to. Oversized, baggy, voluminous clothing and artwork on clothing. That was huge this year. Clothing that's so intricate and colorful and textured, it looks like you could hang it as a piece of art. This is adjacent to global dressing, which we saw a few seasons back, as artistic clothing from other cultures seems to tell a story, just like wearable art. Examples of these are for sure on the Pinterest board that I made for you, in addition to live shots from the runways of the shows that I went to. If you have any questions about any of these trends, just let me know. I know I dumped a lot of information on y'all, but I just wanted you to know what to look for when shopping. If you know anyone who could use some styling help, just send them my way, okay? I would love for you guys to engage with me on social media. In addition, to follow us on YouTube and Instagram, because it's important for me to know that you're out there and you hear me and that I'm not just talking to myself, because I do talk to myself quite a bit, but I'm talking to you now. So just let me know you're out there. But in the meantime, I just wanted to give a shout out to Valia, who wrote in this week, and she was telling me about some great t-shirts that she found for a great price. So thank you for writing in. That makes me so happy. And Maureen, she wrote in and told me about a company that she loves and she wants me to check out. See, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for writing in and thinking of me. I am really, truly, honestly, to Valia and Maureen, very grateful. So check it out, as it's my son's wedding this weekend, my stepson, Zach, and I did help raise him. So yes, he is my son. The rehearsal dinner's tonight. The wedding is tomorrow. Wish me luck that I can walk in my shoes. I'm not going to change my shoes because I'm going to be photographed and I'm going to fake it till I make it. Yes, I am. So y'all pray for me, okay? And you will see pictures of my dresses and my shoes. And we're going to talk about wedding attire again, because it is a subject that never dies. And I keep getting asked about mother of the groom dresses, mother of the bride dresses, and how to be the best dressed wedding guest. as I like to keep you guys encouraged because it is wedding season. Y'all have a fabulous week. I love you so much. We are fashion besties. And I hope in this world you don't ever feel alone, because just when you think you're alone, I'll find you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Talk to you later. See you next week. Bye. This has been the Fashion Crimes Podcast. I am the hostess with the mostest. Okay. Miss you till next week. Bye. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. Bye, 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 bye.